Right now, some of the smartest private equity investors in the world are just absolutely obsessed with hair salons.
Oh, completely obsessed.
But, and to be clear here, not the haircuts themselves. They are obsessed with the locked doors behind the reception desk. You know the exact places I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, they're everywhere now.
Right. It seems like no matter what local shopping center you pull into these days, right between like the grocery store and that familiar neighborhood coffee shop, there's this certain kind of storefront popping up. You've probably seen the frosted glass, the sleek, modern logo on the door.
Yeah, and you look inside, and instead of one big open room with a dozen chairs and mirrors, it's a labyrinth of private closed-door rooms.
Exactly, the salon suite. We are seeing them absolutely everywhere. So welcome to today's deep dive. We are taking you behind those frosted doors today because this topic, it completely shifts how you should look at the commercial real estate right in your own backyard.
It really does, because when you walk past one of those storefronts, your brain automatically categorizes it, right? You glance at the sign and think, okay, it's a salon.
Right, just another local business.
Exactly. But the reality of what is actually happening inside those walls, from a structural and financial perspective, is an entirely different beast. What looks like a localized neighborhood business is actually the frontier of a massive commercial real estate shift.
And to figure out what's really going on here, we are pulling from a brilliant piece of source material today. It's an article by Stella Pop.
Yeah, they're a management and creative agency that works really deep in this space.
Right, and the title of your piece lays down a pretty bold thesis. It's called Salon Suites are an operating platform, not just a real estate product. So our mission for this deep dive is to look way past the brick and mortar. We want to uncover why treating these spaces purely as passive real estate is a massive financial trap for investors.
A huge trap.
Yeah, and we'll look at how the real money, the true enterprise value is actually made in the invisible business running behind all those locked doors. So, okay, let's unpack this. Because on paper, this looks like the easiest money in the world.
It really does. If you are sitting in a venture capital boardroom or managing a private equity fund right now, the salon suite category looks almost suspiciously attractive.
Suspiciously is a good word for it.
Right, because you're looking at a model that essentially offers recurring rental revenue, much like an apartment building, but it taps directly into local service demand that just completely resists e-commerce disruption.
Yeah, you can't get a haircut on Amazon.
Exactly, you can't. And it is an incredibly efficient use of commercial square footage. Plus, you are attaching your capital to a consumer category tied to beauty, wellness, flexibility, entrepreneurship. It checks almost every single box an institutional investor could possibly want.
It looks like the ultimate clean, passive play. The formula seems embarrassingly simple, right? You lease a massive, maybe slightly outdated commercial space. You build out a bunch of smaller, 150 square foot suites with sinks and mirrors.
Yep.
You fill those rooms with independent hairstylists, massage therapists, estheticians, and then you just, sit back, play golf, and collect the rent every month.
Lease, build, fill, collect. Yeah, that is the pitch you hear from a lot of amateur investors entering the space.
But I'm guessing it's not that simple.
No, not at all. As the source material makes very clear, that simple version is a highly incomplete and honestly dangerous way to view the business. The strongest investment thesis here isn't that salon suites are a real estate product.
Okay.
The physical rooms, the drywall, the plumbing, the locked doors, they merely create the revenue structure.
Right.
It is the operating system layered on top of those rooms that creates the actual value.
Okay, I was trying to wrap my head around this distinction earlier, and here's an analogy that I think helps clarify it for you listening. Think about the difference between owning a standard apartment building and running a high-end boutique hotel, or maybe like a premium co-working space.
Oh, that's a good comparison.
Right. Because with the apartment building, you are basically just selling access to square footage. You hand over the keys, you fix the plumbing when it breaks, and you collect the rent.
Pretty hands-off.
Exactly. But with a boutique hotel or a co-working space, the square footage is just the baseline. What you are actually selling is the vibe, the seamless technology, the community, the support staff, the whole frictionless experience.
Yes. What's fascinating here is how perfectly that analogy applies to the current state of the salon suite industry. Because this category is maturing rapidly. You have massive, well-funded franchise brands competing for the exact same pool of independent beauty professionals as the local mom-and-pop operators.
So they have options.
Tons of options. So for the professional choosing where to rent, A private room and a locked door are simply no longer enough to win their business. They have choices, and their own clients have much higher expectations now. The real estate is just the raw asset, but the operating model is the multiplier.
Okay, so if I'm running that boutique hotel and my service drops, my occupancy plummets, doesn't the exact same logic apply here? Like, if the multiplier is the operating model, how do investors even evaluate if one of these salon suite locations is worth buying?
That's the million-dollar question.
Because my natural instinct, and I'm sure for anyone listening who has ever dabbled in real estate, would be to just look at the rent roll and the occupancy rates. I look at a location, I see 40 rooms, I see 40 signed leases. Boom, the building is full, I'm buying it.
And that is exactly where people get burned. A full building can still hide incredibly weak operations.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. High occupancy might literally just be a snapshot of a single moment in time. Relying on that snapshot is exactly how investors step into a trap.
Wait, I have to push back on this a little bit. I mean, if a building is 100% full and everyone is paying their rent on the first of the month, who really cares how the operator got there? If the checks are clearing, revenue is revenue, right? Why overcomplicate it?
Because not all revenue is durable revenue. Put yourself in the shoes of someone about to spend millions of dollars acquiring that building. You have to look under the hood. Let's say we have 2 salon suite locations, both 100% full.
Okay.
Building A is full because the operator has a highly optimized marketing engine. They track every lead, they know exactly how much it costs to acquire a new tenant, and they have a waiting list.
Sounds solid.
Very solid. But building B is full because the owner is relying on massive, unsustainable price discounts, like, offering the first 6 months rent-free just to get warm bodies into the room.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah.
Or maybe building B is only full because there is one incredibly charismatic local manager running the place, just holding everything together with sheer force of personality. If that manager quits tomorrow, what happens to the building?
The occupancy rate plummets because the entire system just walked out the door.
Exactly.
I see. So the occupancy rate is really just a lagging indicator. It tells you what happened yesterday, but it gives you absolutely zero confidence that the business is structurally sound enough to survive tomorrow.
Right. Investors have to practice diligence that goes way beyond occupancy. They need to look at the operating engine itself, almost treating it like a modern software company instead of a brick-and-mortar landlord.
So what does that look like in practice?
It means asking entirely different questions. What does their sales funnel look like? When a local stylist submits an inquiry on the website, how quickly is it answered? Do they measure what percentage of digital leads actually turn into physical tours of the space?
Right.
And of those tours, what percentage actually sign a lease? What marketing channel is producing the strongest, longest-lasting tenants? A platform with solid systems, crystal clear reporting, and a disciplined tenant journey is infinitely more valuable than a platform that is 100% full today, but has absolutely zero visibility into how it got there.
Yeah, because if you don't know how you got your current tenants, you have no idea how you're going to replace them when they eventually leave. Which actually brings up a huge point. If filling these suites requires this rigorous, highly measurable sales funnel, you have to actually put people into the top of that funnel.
Yep, you need leads.
You need to generate high-quality leads in a really crowded market. And the source material points to a specific lever for this, which is brand. But, I read that and immediately thought of just a logo or a catchy name. That doesn't seem powerful enough to drive a whole real estate thesis.
Right. Usually it wouldn't be. But in this specific context, brand is not just cosmetic decoration added after the drywall goes up. In the salon suite world, brand is demand creation.
Okay.
You have to look at this entirely from the tenant's perspective. These beauty and wellness professionals, they aren't just looking for a cheap place to store their scissors and blow dryers. They are choosing the physical environment where they are going to build their entire personal business.
That's their livelihood.
Exactly. They want an operator who understands their ambition, their need for independence, and their income potential.
Let's make this tangible for a second. Imagine you listening are a high-end hairstylist. Let's call you Sarah. You charge, let's say, $300 for a specialized color treatment, and you spent 5 years building a loyal, premium client base.
A great position to be in.
Right. And when you tell your clients, hey, I'm moving out of the big traditional salon into my own private suite, the brand of the building you move into reflects directly on you. If Sarah chooses this generic, poorly lit building with a flimsy logo that only competes on having the cheapest rent in town, it subconsciously lowers her own status in the eyes of her high-paying clients.
Absolutely.
But if she aligns herself with a strong brand, one that projects confidence, pristine professionalism, a premium aesthetic, she is essentially using that building to elevate her own professional identity.
That is the exact psychology at play. A generic suite brand competes in a race to the bottom, right? It's just location, price, and availability. But a stronger suite brand competes on a completely different level. They're selling confidence, experience, and growth.
And people will pay a premium for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that difference translates directly into the hard economics of the business. Better brand positioning brings in higher quality leads at the top of the funnel. Clearer messaging improves how many of those leads actually convert into signed leases.
Which means it's cheaper to get them.
Yes. A strong brand fundamentally lowers the customer acquisition cost. It isn't just a marketing layer. It is the engine of the investment thesis.
Okay, so let's say you've built the operating platform. You have a killer brand that generates demand. You have a slick sales funnel that converts inquiries into signed leases. You get Sarah, our high-end stylist, to sign a 2-year lease. Right, but getting her to sign is really only half the battle. The ultimate test of any operating platform is whether you can actually keep her there. And here's where I struggle with the model a bit. The whole pitch to Sarah is be your own boss. She wants total control over her schedule, her pricing, her music, her products. If the core emotional promise is independence, should the operator just hand her the keys and get out of her way?
It seems like that, right? But if we connect this to the bigger picture, we run into one of the most fascinating paradoxes in this entire business model.
The paradox of independence.
Yes. Yes, these professionals desperately want to be their own boss. But independence does not mean the operator can just ignore them and offer zero support. The strongest platforms understand a fundamental truth. The tenant's success is the only thing that protects the operator's revenue.
Because if Sarah fails as a business owner, or if she just gets frustrated and leaves, she can't pay the rent.
Exactly. Let's trace what actually happens when an operator just gets out of the way and completely neglects the operating system. Imagine Sarah's sink breaks on a Tuesday morning. Oh, no.
Right. In a poorly run mom-and-pop location, she texts the owner. The owner is busy with another job, forgets to call the plumber, and the sink stays broken for 5 days.
That's brutal. Sarah has to cancel thousands of dollars worth of appointments. Her clients are annoyed. She is furious.
Yep. The operator failed to provide the basic infrastructure she needs to run her independent business, so when her lease is up, she leaves.
And when she leaves, the financial bleeding for the operator really begins. I mean, we have to talk about the grim reality of tenant turnover or churn, because it is incredibly expensive in this model. It is way more punishing than just missing 1 month's rent.
Churn is massive revenue leakage. Think about the cascading hidden costs of Sarah leaving. First, you have a vacant room producing $0.
Right.
But now you also have to spend fresh marketing dollars to generate new leads for that specific room. You have to pay for digital ads. Then your manager has to spend hours answering emails, following up with those new leads, giving physical tours of the space, running background checks, negotiating a new lease, getting the new person onboarded. It's exhausting just hearing all that.
The management attention alone is a huge drain on resources.
Thousands of dollars and dozens of hours lost, all because a broken sink wasn't fixed in 24 hours.
Exactly.
When you frame it like that, retention isn't just some feel-good, let's be nice to our renters metric. Retention is a hard, measurable operating outcome. Investing in facility standards, rapid repair ticketing systems, and community building, that is what makes the entire platform defensible against competitors.
Which brings us to the ultimate endgame for private equity in this space.
Let's hear it.
Once you truly understand that the brand, the tenant support systems, and the funnel metrics are the actual engines of value, the overarching financial strategy becomes incredibly clear. The big play here is a classic private equity maneuver. Buy, build, and standardize.
Okay, let's break down what that actually means for this industry. Because right now, the landscape of salon suites across the country is just incredibly fragmented.
Very much so.
You have all these local independent owners out there. Maybe a retired dentist bought a strip mall and converted it, They have a really great location right off the highway, and they have loyal tenants who have been there for years. But their back-end infrastructure is practically non-existent. Their brand looks like it was made in Microsoft Word in 2005.
Oh, I've seen those.
Yeah, and their lead tracking is literally just a spiral notebook sitting on the front desk. And their entire process for giving a tour and closing a lease lives entirely inside the head of one part-time manager.
And that kind of fragmentation, It's a nightmare if you want to scale, but it is an absolute dream for private equity. It creates a massive opportunity for multiple arbitrage.
How so?
Well, a disciplined, well-funded platform can swoop in and acquire these mom-and-pop locations relatively cheaply because, financially speaking, they are risky. They are held together with duct tape.
Right.
The private equity firm buys them, stabilizes them, and then standardizes the operations. They replace those individual heroics of that one manager with a repeatable, data-driven playbook.
Wait, I have to ask, though, doesn't standardizing everything run the risk of ruining the exact thing that made the location successful in the first place? I mean, if you standardize a quirky local spot, doesn't it lose its local charm? Doesn't it just become this sterile, corporate, cookie-cutter environment? Because beauty professionals are highly creative people. They would absolutely reject a sterile corporate vibe.
It is a totally valid concern, and the source material addresses this exact tension. Because the goal of standardizing is not to make every single location look identically corporate or visually repetitive.
Yeah.
The wallpaper, the lighting fixtures, the local flavor, those can all remain completely unique to the neighborhood. The goal is to ensure that every location operates on the exact same strategic foundation.
Oh. So you standardize the invisible things, not the aesthetic things.
Exactly. You standardize how leads are tracked in a central database. You standardize the software used for rapid maintenance ticketing so that broken sink is automatically flagged to a plumber within an hour.
Right. No more texting the owner.
Exactly. You standardize how lease renewals are digitally handled 90 days before they expire. You are standardizing the operating discipline. And that shift from a chaotic local business to a predictable, systemized platform is what fundamentally changes the valuation.
I see.
You take a business that was valued at maybe 3 times its profit because it was risky, you install the operating system, it becomes predictable and scalable, and suddenly it's worth 10 times its profit. You aren't just buying occupancy anymore, you are building massive enterprise value.
So what does this all mean for you listening? Why did we take you down the rabbit hole of salon suite economics and private equity mechanics today?
It's a fair question.
Because whether you are an investor looking for the next big opportunity, a small business owner trying to figure out why you are struggling to scale, or honestly, just someone observing the changing landscape of retail in your own neighborhood, the core lesson here is universal. True, lasting commercial value is no longer found in just owning the physical asset.
It's just not enough anymore.
No. The real value, the defensible moat, is entirely in the operating discipline and the specific user experience that you facilitate inside that asset.
And it really challenges our most deeply held traditional notions of commercial real estate. We're so used to thinking of landlords as these sort of passive entities. But this leaves us with an incredibly important question to consider.
What's that?
If the future of commercial value truly belongs to the business behind the rooms, well, take a look around your own city. Think about the sprawling spaces you interact with every single week. What other seemingly passive traditional real estate models, from, massive dying shopping malls to half-empty suburban office parks, are silently failing right now?
Oh, yeah.
And are they failing because they are simply acting as passive rent collectors rather than building an active, supportive operating system for the people inside them?
That is a fascinating perspective. Think about that the next time you pull into that local shopping center and walk past the frosted glass. There is a whole lot more going on in there than just haircuts. There is a masterclass in modern business operations happening right behind those locked doors. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you on the next one.